Alrighty, so News of the Week episode on this Thursday instead of Wednesday because again, I've been a little bit busy lately, and we're back to that old routine of always doing midweek News of the Week episode on a Thursday. So today it was announced that the Leagues Cup has announced the schedule for every single team. We now know who, of course, will be facing against each other in Phase One of the schedule, and that they also have announced multiple different procedure in terms of how this Leagues Cup is going to look like. Of course, we'll give more information about that in the video in the future because there's a lot to break down besides the fact that it's taking place between August 4th to September 6th, and that includes talking about games that's going to be actually taking place in Mexico in the Leagues Cup, which, I'm kind of a little disappointed the fact that there's only like 4 games that's going to be taking place in Mexico. I thought there was going to be more as a resort. But yeah, I guess as the old saying goes, beggars can't be choosers, and I guess maybe this is just kind of a test to give some of the games down in Mexico and see how that, of course, would go. But obviously, MLS teams still have a huge advantage in terms of home field advantage because when you have like 96% of the games that's going to be taking place in the U.S., I mean, yeah, you're definitely going to get that home field advantage. Now, the MLS All Star game will once again be MLS All Star versus Liga MX All Star. Now, this is not a big surprise. I think for the past couple of years, it's been worked out pretty well to a point where this feels like this is going to be kind of the norm that we're going to see in the next couple of years. Obviously, I know some fans are kind of a little bit disappointed that it's MLS All Star versus Liga MX All Star. Some might say that we might want to go back to what it was a couple of years ago when MLS All Star team played against European opposition. Nah, I don't like that. I think that idea is way overpass in terms of how it is. The one format that I always want them to bring back is East versus West because I feel like that would be a much better format. It just kind of brings you kind of the original vibe of what the All Star game all started when the league, of course, was founded. And there also are some people saying that maybe MLS should just do away with the All Star game as well. Even though what's kind of interesting when you look at the MLS All Star and when you compare it to the other All Star game that's going to be happening in other sports, I think only the MLB All Star I can say that are considered to be a very competitive game and actually resemble a game compared to the other All Star game because we know the NBA All Star game is pretty much a joke nowadays. The NHL All Star game, didn't happen this year. It didn't happen the previous year as well. That seems like that's going away. And then let's not even get to the Pro Bowl itself. I mean, yeah, the Pro Bowl that the NFL has had, that feels like something that I think everybody can agree that they might as well just do away with it in terms of whatever they're doing right now in the Pro Bowl. But yeah, I would love to see one day we might go back to East versus West. We might also have a situation where you might do something that's similar to what the NBA does, where maybe you have celebrity player pick their players and then they face against each other in the All Star game. But yeah, again, I know some people won't be a little disappointed that it's MLS All Star versus Liga MX All Star game, but the bottom line is that this partnership between MLS and Liga MX and this kind of competitiveness between both of these leagues, we've seen it for the past couple of years. This is why the Leagues Cup kind of was all happening, and then you of course added the Confidence Cup that's going to happen in September as well. So yeah, I think this is just kind of the safe bet, and it's also going to be interesting to see whether Lionel Messi might even get a chance to play in the game. He didn't play in the last one after he got selected, so yeah, we'll see what's going to happen. I think tickets are going to be really hotly sell. I also won't think it's as expensive as maybe down in Austin because this being at Charlotte and knowing that they have 70,000 seats to fill, and I do think that they're gonna definitely fill up all those seats, especially a certain goat himself that's currently playing Inter Miami might be participating in this game. But yeah, again, I think tickets prices because of the demand being much more bigger. I wouldn't think that it would be as expensive as what we saw in Austin last year, where tickets prices for that All Star game in Austin was relatively expensive. Now, Antoine Griezmann, so there was a lot of link that he was going to be going to Orlando City. Now it seems like that's not going to happen. He says that he has paused his plan to come to MLS, and I have a feeling the reason why he kind of paused his plan is the fact that, Atletico Madrid, they did get themselves into the Copa del Rey final, despite the fact that they almost choked that big lead away to Barcelona in the second leg. Like they had a 4-0 lead. Barcelona had a furious comeback, but Atletico Madrid was able to held on to make it to the Copa del Rey final. And I do think that, the door is still there for Antoine Griezmann to come to MLS. There's been a lot of discussion of him coming to MLS, whether it's Orlando City or even LAFC as well. And there's no doubt that I think he is really liking the league and really wants to join this in the future. But yeah, for Orlando City, it's kind of a little disappointing. If you're an Orlando City fan, you were hoping you're gonna get another big name. I mean, with this Orlando City team, ever since they came into the league, there's been some big players that have come to Orlando. I mean, it all started with Kaká, and then just a couple of years we saw Nani play for this team. Antoine Griezmann will definitely be right up there in terms of one of the bigger names to play with this club. Maybe around the same level, if not maybe just a little bit below what Kaká is, because Kaká is a huge full name, and he's definitely considered to be one of the best player during his prime of his year. But still, we'll see whether or not, if Orlando City might be thinking about pursuing in the near future. I mean, obviously for Orlando City, there's a lot of things that has not gone right with this team, and for the remaining of the transfer window, or maybe in the summer, this is kind of where they might have to look to see how they can booster the team, both on the attack and the defensive end, because both of that side has just not gone well so far in these first couple of games. Now, Toronto FC, they have finalized a deal to sign Chilean center back Benjamin Kazevic from Fortaleza in the Brazilian Serie A league. In fact, it's not even a finalized deal. It is actually now a done deal, and this kind of makes sense because obviously I'm pretty sure what TFC has done in these first two games. The GM probably saw what they did, and they say, yeah, we need defensive help badly. I mean, when you can see 6 goals already in the first 2 games of the season, yeah, you definitely need some defensive help. And for Toronto FC, they are hoping that this is going to be the guy that can solidify their defense, because it's just been nothing but a mess right now defensively with this team. When Walker Zimmerman came to this team, I thought that might be a good boost in terms of the defense, but yeah, it just have not been that case whatsoever. So yeah, we'll see with this new center back signing whether or not if that can help stop the bleeding in terms of the amount of goals that Toronto gave up, because yeah, that defense, at least when these first 2 games, looked like the defense from the first half of last season, which was absolutely awful. And then Atlanta United, they have signed midfielder Mateus Gallardo on loan from River Plate. Now, apparently, he's kind of a guy that can definitely get possession for Atlanta United. I mean, again, this Atlanta team, there's just so much mess that are in right now. When you kind of look at the roster that they have built, it just feels very disconnect. And with them, their their latest signing of an Argentine player, hoping that of course will work out. We'll see whether or not if it of course will work out, because they have had a lot of duds lately when it comes to acquisition, especially down in South America. But we'll see whether this might be a move that can boost this team, especially solidify the midfield as well. And then Johnny Russell, remember him being kind of a legend during his time with Sporting KC, and then spent his last year with RSL. Well, now he's going to be going back to Scotland. He's actually going to be going back to his boyhood club, Dundee United. And I know, for those that haven't watched Johnny Russell play, if they just kind of got into MLS, I think we can all appreciate that he was definitely one of the more electrified player that we have seen in this league, and a guy that when he does retire, I would definitely maybe think about doing a player career video about him. It's been a while since I've done player career video on this channel. I really need to get back into it. But yeah, Johnny Russell, he is a guy that will always be remembered as such an electrified winger, especially during his time with Sporting KC. I don't know if he's worn enough to get a statue in front of Sporting Park, but yeah, he is going to be a guy that will always be remembered, and just a really fun player to watch. Except when he played, of course, against Minnesota. That's a different story. He always terrorized my loons and that I'm kind of in some way kind of glad that he's no longer going to do that. Now that he's going to be going back to Scotland and going back to where you all begin with Dundee United. And then moving on in terms of the next news, so MLS Now is actually now available for DirecTV Business, and I want to mention this mainly because for those that wonder, well, now that season pass is no longer a thing, and that MLS has kind of integrated into the Apple TV subscription service, does that mean that it will really affect in terms of how bars will be able to show MLS games? Because obviously, when you have all these things on a streaming device or a streaming software, as MLS have done for Apple TV the last couple of years, you simply can't just simply do that at a bar. Well, the good news is that seems like for the past couple of years, DirecTV Business has included MLS in terms of their package. I think the last year they didn't include that, so it was really hard to try to catch an MLS game if you go into the bar. But the good news is it is back, and that might be good news for fans that wants to watch their team play at a local bar. Or if one thing that I always say when it comes to watching your team play, not at home but maybe at a bar, one good way to do it is just go to your team website and see where exactly is there viewing parties out there, because most teams actually have viewing party as well. I know Minnesota always tends to have a page dedicated to all the viewing spots out there, and you also have the supporter group doing their own viewing party as well. So that's kind of an easy way to of course able to catch your favorite team at a local bar or pub uh, uh, if you want to do that. But it's good news to see the fact that now bars will actually have the option of able to purchase this and able to show MLS game on their TV as well. Now, FC Cincinnati, they have actually announced a bold plan to expand TQL Stadium. Now, this is not a big surprise. Cincinnati has sold out pretty much every single game, and they're one of those teams that when they said that they sold out their stadium, they mean it. I mean, the at most games, there's rarely any empty seats. I see when I watch Cincinnati game, and that it was pretty clear with how successful this team has been in the last couple of years, and especially with the way that, if you remember back when they were playing at Nippert Stadium before they built TKL Stadium, they were averaging 28,000 and 30,000 fans in that stadium as well. Now, obviously, that stadium is bigger than TQL, but the demand is definitely there. Where I can definitely see them planning to expand the stadium in the near future, maybe even go up to 27 or 28,000 fan. Now, one thing that people would not like, and especially the people of Cincinnati would not like this, is the fact that it seems like this expansion will all come from taxpayer money. And if you know anything about Cincinnati sport, and when it comes to them trying to fund their stadium of public funds, yeah, it's something that is very common, and it's something that the people in Cincinnati just simply do not like it. Especially that new Bengal stadium that they of course built a couple of years back. It was pretty much mostly funded by taxpayer money, and the people are still kind of in some way paying for it as well. It really puts the city in debt as a resort. So yeah, when you have that happening, and when you ask the public for money, when you're already are asking in a place where the public is not very a big fan of in terms of shelling more monies, even if it's to improve or even expand the stadium. Yeah, good luck in terms of trying to see how Cincinnati is going to convince the local pop, pop, populace the fact that, yeah, even though it's not going to be as much as what we see when you funded the Bengal stadium, but we'll see whether or not if this does happen. And then Inter Miami, they have officially announced a new name for their stadium at Freedom Park. It is called NU Stadium, or New Stadium. I already can hear people are saying that this the reason why they chose that is because they want to name that Camp New, or the new camp, just as you expected, because with a team that is full of Barcelona players and used to have Messi being there, it kind of makes sense the fact that now it seems like Messi gets to play on another stadium. It is similarly called the Camp Now, though. That being said, when it comes to stadium name, that is, I think it's a good name. I mean, I've seen some really bad stadium name, and I've been eventually I will do a video talk about stadium name itself and some really bad ones out there in MLS. But this one is not a bad stadium name. The only thing that's bad about this is the fact that the main logo for New, which is I've heard it's like a Brazilian financial firm, it's purple. That is the rival color of Inter Miami, known as Orlando City. So here we are. We have Orlando City naming their stadium Inter and Co Stadium, and you have now Inter Miami naming their stadium New Stadium with the color of their stadium sponsor being purple. It's like I've heard this story before. It's almost like I heard this story happening in the Cascadia region, where we have the Portland Timbers name their stadium Providence Park, only for the Seattle Sounders to make Providence their shirt sponsor, even though that agreement seems like it's going to be ending relatively soon as well. Now, speaking of stadium, since we're talking about it, so the Chicago Fire has officially announced that they have broke ground with their new stadium. Now they've said that they're going to be opening right around the 2028 timeline, that is. But overall, what a huge victory this has to be for the Chicago Fire, and the fact that they're finally able to build themselves a proper soccer specific stadium that is actually close to downtown as well. I know this is not the first soccer specific stadium that the Chicago Fire has built. In fact, they're now joining the Columbus Crew as the only MLS team to build two soccer specific stadium. But there's a reason why they abandoned the original one. And I've already always mentioned the original soccer specific stadium that the Fire play was pretty much out in the middle of nowhere in Bridgeville, and that it was considered to be one of the worst stadium, and also one of the most empty stadium in match day, because nobody's going to drive all the way to Bridgeville just to watch the Fire play, especially if the fact when the Fire were not doing very well during the 2010s, that is. So yeah, this is a huge boost that is for the Chicago Fire to finally able to move out of the cavernous stadium known as Soldier Field and get to play at a place that is not that far away from it as well. I think it's like around the 78th district, if I've heard, and it's relatively close to downtown itself. Now, moving on. So, the USL, there is a huge concern right now that the opening weekend might actually not happen, because as you probably have not followed what is going on in the USL. As much as I know the USL has definitely heading in the right direction when it comes to the whole promotion and relegation system, and also announced how the structure is going to be in the name of the promotion and relegation structure, that is. It feels like that all that goodwill that they have, of course, shown, and all that positive envision is going to be all for naught because of this ongoing labor battle between the USL and the USLPA. And obviously, if you also haven't heard in terms of what's going on, obviously the USLPA is not happy in terms of the pay that they're getting, but also the most important thing that they're not very happy is the fact that they're getting no insurance when it comes to playing in this league, something that is kind of unthinkable to be playing in a league where you if you get injured, yeah, your team is not going to cover you're going to have to cover that yourself, and that the league for a long time has been asking for that to be a mandate thing, or at least the P8 have been trying to make that as a mandate thing to the league. And yeah, it's a very unfortunate situation. It kind of reminds me of what happened to MLS a couple of years ago, where we had that ongoing labor battle. It feels like there was a huge possibility of strike that has happened. They got the deal done at the 11th hour, and we'll see whether or not if that's going to be the case again. Again, because if they don't get this deal done, if the agreement is not reached, the USLPA has already announced that they're going to strike on the opening weekend. They're not going to play a game, and we're going to have a lockout situation. And like I said, this is very unfortunate for the USL, because all the goodwills that they put, and all the positive envision that they have with this promotion and relegation system, and the fact that they're really going after MLS in terms of making that premier division right at the same level as MLS as a top flight league. Yeah, that seems like it's all going to be derailed because of the fact that the players are probably not happy. The fact that, well, it's great that you, of course, have all this envision, but what about our pay, and what about the thing that we've been demanding for so long, that you just simply refuse to give us, like health insurance and all these bonus that we've been wanted for a very long time. And then last but not least, FIFA has announced that they have now allowed broadcasts to cut to commercial during the hydration break that we see in the first half and in the second half. And for reference, the hydration break will happen no matter if it's playing in an indoor stadium or an outdoor stadium. I like how FIFA basically said that the reason why they do that is because it's for the welfare of the players. But let's be honest, it's not that. That it feels like a very BS kind of statement. The real reason why they do it is because they want the money. I mean, when it comes to this upcoming World Cup, the money is basically what it's all about. There's a reason why the ticket prices is just absolutely ridiculous heading into this World Cup, and why a lot of people are very frustrated about that. Besides the ongoing political situation that's going on in this country as well. But yeah, again, I'm not surprised that of course is the case, and that yeah, now you could have a situation where we could get into the 30th minute and then they cut to commercial. It's almost like now instead of having two halves, we have now turned into like quarters as well, where you have the first quarter and then hydration break, second quarter, third halftime, third quarter, and then continue the rest of the game. It feels like FIFA has really trying to Americanize the sports in a way for this upcoming World Cup, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people are not happy about that, especially with the whole commercial kind of thing. That shouldn't be something that we should be seeing during the game, even if it's a hydration break. But at the end of the day, money is always a thing that FIFA will always follow, as you probably have already known. I mean, unless you've been sitting under a rock. I mean, FIFA. That's what they all care about. They don't really care about the rest of the stuff, and are happy to of course have the fans to attend the event. They all care. Here is the fact that the fans will still show up when they charge people, and they can dime them until they have with the amount that they of course could be earning for this upcoming World Cup, which could be a record amount if the prices stay at the way that it is right now. But there you have it. That is pretty much it for this News of the Week episode. As always, let me know in the comments below what do you think of these news, and if there's any news I didn't mention here on the board, let me know in the comments below as always. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.